Well, what do we know about him? We know that he's a very talented player. He's got a tremendous amount of individual skill. The knock on Pontus has been bringing it every night and imposing it on other teams, and that's what we want to see from him. The right side of our training camp is perhaps one of the question marks, if you will. There's great opportunity for Ty Ratty, for Yamo, for Puliarvi, for Aberg. Not all of those guys are going to be here. There's only going to be so many that can play on the team, but they need to start sorting it out, and they need to start imposing their will in games now, not the last Calgary game before we go to Europe, now. I think we know enough about him. We're still trying to get to know him, though. It's not complete. I think entering a season with a team is always easier than joining a team, no matter where you're going or what you're doing. So he has a head start on where he was last year, but time to play for all of those guys.
Todd, when Ryan McLeod was drafted, because of his speed, he said he's confident he can get the puck to the net, but he wants to get better at finishing within 10 feet. And he said he worked on that over the summer and changed his stick. As a coach, I assume you've seen that from younger players before. What do they have to do to work on that in-tight finish going from junior to pro or AHL to NHL?
Big jumps, all of them. Junior to the American League, then to the NHL. Every step's huge. Regardless of your skill level, your age, your maturity level, there's always a big jump. And he's been a very good player throughout training camp. He's done some things very well. I'm getting to learn and know him. He knows his game way better than I do right now. So if he's telling you those things, he's self-evaluating, which is a valuable thing. He knows some things that he wants to do better, and he wants to implement them in the game. We can help him in practice. We can sit with video situations. But quite frankly, right now, there's so many players in camp, it's hard to do that with him. So great for him that he can self-evaluate. Great for him that he can look at applying that evaluation in a game or a practice situation. As time goes on, I think we can help him more.
Todd,
Oh, we're going back now, and first of all, it wasn't an easy moment for anybody, but in particular Adam, obviously. Anybody that was close, I think some of the Swedish players and Clough, and in particular, that knew the family well and knew the father well, that was a tough thing as well. But I always believe, and I'm a firm believer, family comes before anything, before hockey, job, anything else in the world. And we gave him the time he needed. And he did the things he needed to do with his family. He came back, and you could still see it in his eyes. He wasn't quite the same individual. I don't know if time heals wounds and pain, but he looks a little more refreshed now, and I think he's skating well. We're going to try and provide an environment, a hockey world that is a positive world for him, and he'll keep playing.
Todd, at this time of year, are you reminded at all of the days when you were pushing for an NHL spot as a bubble player, and does it impact the way you push guys in practices or on the bench tonight?
Well, based on today's world, I would have been sent down a long time ago. There's so many good players now. So, what ends up happening with players, when you've got 60 players in camp, it's hard to truly evaluate each one of them fairly. And that's our job as a staff. That's our job as coaches, is to try and give them the best evaluation as we can. But to be quite frank, there's some that get more attention than others. You look for guys that are going to catch your eye and blossom, and then you look for them again, and all of a sudden you're looking at a new player you didn't think you were going to look at very much. The key for the young players is to do that once or twice or maybe 3 times in camp so that the group begins to bring your name up. And that can be through a great defensive play, that can be through effort, that can be through a goal. That can be through a good hard practice and your attentiveness. Have the evaluators talk about you every day in a positive light. You're doing something well. So that would be our advice to the group as a whole. We talk to them about that. The veterans, you tend to look for, are they improving? Are they getting sharp? Is there a laziness to their game? Is there a casual approach to practice? And if there is, you begin to deal with it. So training camps, in my opinion, isn't always fair. I'm the first to admit it. I tell the players that. It just isn't fair to some guys. But it's their job to work it up to where it becomes fair.
You were talking about guys catching your eye. So what would catch your eye? Skating, strength, hockey IQ, structure, all of the above?
All of the above. There are subtle plays that happen in a game, and you may catch somebody reading it really well and affecting the outcome of that play, checking or on offense. And then you see it happen again with the same individual, and then a game with the same individual, and you begin to formulate an opinion of, geez, in this situation, this guy's pretty darn good. He's better than whoever else it might be. And, the skating part, you tend to catch guys that have trouble skating first. It shows up right away, and they may not be able to catch up. The speedsters show up a little bit later on, but can they make plays? Can they handle the puck with speed? So there's a number of factors that catch your eye. I get asked about players and individuals, hey, what type of camp is so-and-so having after day one? And I'm going, I don't know. And don't ask me, I don't know. So we haven't played enough hockey. Even the two scrimmages that we had don't give us a true evaluation of where we're at. It'll start tonight and it'll continue on for the next 2 weeks.
Todd, you're going to get to see, it looks like anyway, Koskinen for the first time tonight. There's a position, you guys have said you wanted competition at the backup and maybe even push push Cam a little bit. What are you as a head coach looking for specifically from Koskinen tonight? And how many games do you feel as a coach you need to get an understanding of a goalie that you really haven't seen in a long time?
So many would say, well, why are you paying Mikko right away? Why don't you play, some of the other young guys? Mikko's got to get used to the North American ice surface. And yes, he's played against Oilers and scrimmages and that type of stuff, but let's put him in a real game and get used to the smaller arena. So the best thing we can do is throw him in there right away. From there, we'll evaluate him in game situations. We'll look at how he reads plays, how he fits in, and a lot of that comes from the goaltending coaching staff, and they've done a real good job with him already. As the year goes on, whoever our backup is going to have to pitch some real good games. We need to get, and again, I've been asked how many games will Talbs play and how many will the backup play. I can't tell you, I don't know. But I will tell you we need to get a good chunk load of points from our backup goaltender when he plays.
You mentioned Talbot. Does every goalie need another goalie to push him?
I think every goalie's different. A lot of the modern goaltenders, I think, are fine. They come and they play. They take pride in their game. When we look at Talbs, and you're asking me about him in particular, the year prior, when we went to the playoffs, he had a tremendous year. He played a ton. Nobody asked those questions. Last year, maybe his numbers came down, and that was team-related. Everybody's asking those questions. Which one is he? So can he play a lot of games and not be pushed? He's shown he can have success that way. Can he play fewer games and be pushed? I don't know. Individuals differ. I don't know if I answered your question. I was all over the map, but.
Upshaw is going to skate, it looks like. How far away is the guy who's already missed 3 or 4?
Well, he's cleared now to join.
Putting a sweater on in the room, so.
He's joined or he's cleared to join the camp. He'll skate with the second group today. Try and get his legs underneath him. That may happen for a few days. Get him caught up, and then he still deserves an opportunity to make this team. He worked hard to recover, and we'll give him that chance.
You have Bouchard, who is brand new to all of this, and then on the other side of the other end of the spectrum, a guy like Chason, who is here on a tryout, and he said, tonight could be my last game. Who knows? I'm on a tryout. How do you get the message across to guys that are brand new or guys that are, looking for a last chance to not do too much and not play out of their comfort zone and just get that message to them, because it might be hard for them to accept that.
Yeah, and that's the age-old question that comes up. Guys try and do too much, and they end up in trouble. And often it's probably with the younger player. When you compare those two players, Bush being young, there's probably a little more anxiousness or nervousness going into these games. He looks like he feels comfortable, but I guarantee his palms are sweaty. And Jason is in the same boat. The nerves are a little bit different. He's done it for multiple games. He knows the environment he's going into. He knows what it's supposed to feel like. So I think each individual will react, the best they can. We encourage them to make plays, but not overplay. Rely on some instincts. It's early in the year. You can't system them to death yet where you paralyze them. And I think both have a chance at performing well. Both have a chance at making our team.
On Friday, Peter was talking about Bear and Jones and impressive test results. Has that led to improved play on the ice? And I know it's early, but have you seen a difference?
I think it's very early. It won't hurt their play on the ice. I can guarantee you it will not hurt their play on the ice. The physical gains that they made should help their play on the ice, but we still need to see it a little bit more. And if you ask me that question in 10 days, I'd probably give you a much better answer. But I expect the answer to be yes.
Todd, you mentioned that you're still under a period of evaluation and you haven't played enough hockey yet. How do you as a coaching staff prepare for tonight? First preseason game, how does it differ from game 56 of the regular?
Well, this is going to sound like we don't prepare at all, but the word next is going to be a real used word. Whoever's up next is going to play tonight. There isn't a lot of strategy going into power play and penalty kill guys. We may mix some lines around, but everybody's going to get a chance to play. Everybody's going to get exposure to the game. Obviously, the lineup we're taking is a little less mature than what we normally would. Their lineup is going to match that as well. So if you're expecting to see us fix our power play and penalty kill tonight, or you evaluate it on those two things, I would suggest not to do that. Yet we'll try and prepare our team, and more importantly, the players to have success.